My name's Gervier Braun. This is Screen Off Script. I'm here with writer-director Chandler Levack to talk about her two films releasing on April 17th, The Festival Darling, Mild and Kicks, and her first studio film, the hilarious Roommates on Netflix. Chandler, thanks so much for your time and congrats on the movie.
Oh my gosh, thank you. That's
That's
that's really
awesome.
nice.
No problem, no problem. Obviously, I just want to get into it because, clearly you're a cinephile. I feel like you're like with Mile and Kicks, with roommates, and I like movies. You're like my kind of filmmaker. Because
Oh, that's nice.
I love coming of age stories so much, and clearly you love coming of age stories so much. So what were like first off, why do you love those kinds of stories so much?
I think I just like they were such a comfort to me when I was a weird adolescent. I would just like binge any kind of media that like taught me what I thought being a teenager was going to be like. I was obsessed with Clueless and Mean Girls and Dawson's Creek and I don't know, and I think Freaks and Geeks was huge for me. And I think I found those movies really really comforting, and in some ways they set unrealistic expectations for me of what I thought my adolescence was going to be like. And then it was much more like I like movies where like literally nothing happened to me, and I just spent all of high school being like, when is high school going to be over? Um, my mom has to pick me up at this Blockbuster, and it's 10 p.m. and I'm cold. Um, but yeah, I just for me like coming of age movies are just so rich and emotional and effective, and I don't know, they always just like really speak to my core.
Yeah, I completely understand exactly where you're coming from because that's exactly my sentiment. Like for some reason there was like movies that didn't feel like I could be in that, and then all of a sudden I found these movies that I'm like, oh, that feels truer to life, and I kind of love
Yeah.
that. I love that about it.
Yeah, it's like
Um,
other people, like my classmates don't understand me, but like Ghost World does, or Say Anything does, or, Almost Famous does.
Dazed and Confused is my like that's like the one for me.
Oh, I love that movie. It's so good.
I mean, I can imagine. I always say like it's like if I meet somebody who likes Dazed and Confused, I know we're gonna get along because you're clearly cool. You know what I mean? Like it's just automatic. But I mean, you clearly mentioned like all these movies that really shaped you and shows that shaped you. What were like the directors that kind of look at to like for coming of age stories? Like what kind of shaped your idea of like how you wanted to make those kinds of movies?
Um, yeah. Well, I mean, I think like I definitely like the whole oeuvre of Cameron Crowe is really important to me. I think when I saw Frances Ha, I really watched that movie over and over again and kind of studied it from like a blocking level, from a script level, from the way that the shots were composed. I mean, there were just like all the ways that like I love all those like tracking shots like across the subway or a street when like kind of vertically where like the camera sort of following Greta Gerwig. I mean, obviously the sequence where she dances to Modern Love and is like running down the streets of Chinatown, I just thought was like the most beautiful, mind blowing thing I'd ever seen in a movie. But I also think that Girls for me was like really my film school, because I was the same age as the director, and her sensibility and tone and like Lena Dunham's voice as a writer, I really, really related to. And obviously the show I really strongly related to. And I would just watch those episodes over and over again and just be like, okay, why are they cutting to the Y right now? Like, what is the coverage of the scene? Oh, it's so interesting that they're just holding on this one shot for this moment. Like, all of the individual choices were just incredible. And I just, there's so many great directors on that show. Like, I think Richard Shepard's episodes in particular are like quite stunning. And so, yeah, I was just like constantly, Girls for me was like a really important text.
I love that. So I mean, is it endearing when people compare you to other directors or your films to other films? Because in this movie, the Chevy character hates when somebody says like, "Oh, you're like this band." And I noticed that I was like, "Oh, that's a thing. That's a thing for sure." So I'm curious, like from your perspective, is that something that like you relate to?
Oh, I mean, I love a comparison. I started as a critic, so my whole life has just been comparing art to other art. Especially in music journalism, I feel like every album I reviewed, I'd be like, "It's the Strokes meets the Shags with a little bit of Interpol," you know. And so that's kind of like I don't know. I mean, I think I love when movies reference other movies and like the metatextuality of it. And I think things like Letterbox are such a cool tool. And, I've certainly built a lot of lists of like inspiration for films. And I think they can be a really great way of like communicating with collaborators and just sort of introducing stuff as touch points. Yeah. I don't mind.
No, no, I love that. That's exactly how I like. That's my everyday. Is just being like, oh, you'd love this movie. It's just like Dazed and Confused, but it's French. So you
Yeah.
know what I mean. And especially like there's so many scenes that I just feel like really stood out to me in like really strong ways. The scene where the main character Grace is pitching her Alanis Morissette book is one of my favorites because anyone who's annoyingly obsessed with anything in the arts. They're just constantly overthinking these albums and these movies, and I just love to see somebody articulate it exactly why they love something. And that's exactly what I pick up from this movie. Like it's obviously is very autobiographical in a lot of ways, but the feeling is so true. Can you talk about developing that scene and figuring out how you wanted to make it land?
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, I think that scene, it's pretty simple. And for a long time, also, we didn't know who the other person on the other side of the phone of her call was going to be, because we shot that whole side of the conversation much later, like in reshoots, like a year later, kind of. And so Barbie is kind of talking to like nobody on the computer. And I think shot wise, Jeremy Cox, my like really brilliant cinematographer from Island Kicks. We were really inspired by Celine Song's Past Lives because there's a lot of great Skype conversations, and the framing of those Skype conversations is really simple but effective and kind of beautiful. And so we kind of knew that we just wanted it to be mostly like a close up on Barbie's face. And I kind of just let sort of the character's vulnerability and like earnestness, and also, I think the whole scene, like she doesn't realize that what she's saying is actually smart. Like she doesn't have a lot of confidence in her own voice, and it's really nice and amazing when she kind of gets caught up in like her own passion for the subject. And then and there's a really sweet moment where like the editor's like, "Oh, that's smart," and she's like, "It is," And then I think there's like a nice dark humor too, and like her being like so excited that she's going to get a $500 advance to write the book.
Yeah, absolutely. I honestly like that scene. It that's where like it lands everything for me because I'm like, okay, cool. I understand. Like not just for the movie, but like to be a fan of yours. Like I want to watch
Oh,
what you're doing because of like a scene like that lands so like specifically
okay.
well.
I think also Cecile Believe, our composer, like she did a really beautiful job with the score. And I think, I read somewhere that like score is kind of like you get to rewrite the movie all over again with music and sound design, and I think she brought up all these extra layers to it of just kind of like the tentative nature of it and kind of like how fragile the character's feeling, and then sort of like the kind of ecstasy and like beauty of having your idea be like received and kind of seen by someone. And then
Mhm.
I really like how it kind of echoes and reverberates out into like these exterior shots of streets of Milan and like Cafe Social. Like it just really felt really beautiful. And Jeremy, every weekend would go out to kind of Milan, and he would shoot these exterior shots that were kind of like stolen, like documentary shots of just like these little portraits of the city. And so that Ukrainian church on St. Peter is like a real kind of iconic landmark of Milan. And just when you see like the birds kind of like fly away, it just felt like, yeah, that's the feeling of like landing a pitch.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. I love how like intricate you guys went with this, but like it makes a lot of sense because like that's what it delivers. The scene also where Grace is like walking with the nice guy. I forget his name.
Oh, Archie.
Devin. Yes,
Devin
Archie.
Plastic.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And just walking back to number one, walking through the night just with somebody, just talking is like one of my favorite experiences I
Oh,
personally
yeah.
think you can have, right? And like it reminds me a lot of to compare it to another movie, like the
Before mid.
Before trilogy.
Yeah.
Is that what you got where you were like kind of had in your head?
Yeah, it was like partially that and also like all the Eric Romer movies. Like there's some really great Eric Romer summer, in France kind of comedies. Like A Summer's Tale and, Claire's Knee and Look Collection News, which is one of my favorite movies ever. And so I think we were really inspired by kind of taking this like easy breezy, like almost like French New Wave, like pseudo Breathless Goddardian kind of walk and talk vibes. It's also like very like kind of Annie Hall and to do that, like kind of taking the vernacular of like rom com. I think rom coms like it's all about the two shot, and
Yeah.
like two shot steady cam walk and talks are like my love language as a filmmaker, and I really like those kind of scenes. So yeah,
And also like the difficulty in like writing dialogue that sounds so natural and not scripted, like that. I don't know. How do you even approach that aspect? Is it just a whole bunch of riffing, or are you writing all that exactly as you wanted it?
it's very scripted. I like injecting a lot of ums and likes and sort of weird pauses into my writing. Like I
Hmm.
really like when people talk like how I talk.
Yeah.
And a lot of those conversations are kind of based on conversations that I had with my friends or people I knew at that time. So, my friend Tyler Crawford has an additional dialogue by credit because a lot of the like greatest, catchphrases that Devin's character is saying, like being alive is literally insane or completely insane, or I don't know. They're just really it's really like a love letter to my friend, who I really adore. So um, you know, I was really nervous to show him the script because I was like, are you gonna think I'm like a total psychopath that's like remembered every conversation and private joke we've had for like the last 10 years? Um, and I just wanted him, and then luckily he was just really touched by the fact that, it was kind of this nice like memorialization of our friendship.
I love that. And also, like you had, I saw the Reddit AMA that you had where you were talking about the double peace sign, and that was also
Yeah.
credited, I think, to him as well. Am I
Yes.
wrong?
Yeah.
That's
He,
awesome. That's so cool. Yeah, I love that. Um, and like no spoilers, but I love the ending of the film as well, and like the
Thanks.
vulnerability of someone showing you their favorite song. So, first
Mm.
question, even before that, like, what do you think is more vulnerable, showing someone your favorite song or your favorite movie?
Ooh. Well, I mean, a movie is a bigger time commitment. But for me, I don't know, like I've just had these really profound experiences with music where people have given me a song at a certain moment in my life and it's like giving like a present, like a certain song at a moment where I've shared it either with someone or they put it on a mixtape or there's like a song that's just associated with the person and it's like permanently etched in my mind and like that song just remains like so profound. I think people really give each other songs kind of like love letters sometimes, and I just love so music so much, and I'm also like an achingly nostalgic person, so it's really hard for me to like let a song go, like if it's related to like a breakup or a time in my life that I'm trying to find distance from, and Montreal especially, in the Milan, like there's so many songs that I remember either seeing at a concert performed by a band there or that came on during like a big dance party in the middle of the night, or songs that I would just like walk around the Milan listening to like obsessively on a loop and stuff. So I wanted to make sure that a lot of those songs that from that time that really made a big dent in my heart like were in the movie.
You don't strike me as somebody who has like a favorite song. You probably have like a favorite song of right now. Am I right? Is that
um,
correct?
I don't know. I think my favorite song is by New Order, but why can't I remember the name if it's my favorite song? What the hell is wrong
I think
with
that's
me?
fair.
Um, yeah, I think it's Love Vigilantes.
Okay.
Um, is that what it is? Yeah, Love Vigilantes.
All right. I'm gonna have to listen.
I really really love that song.
I'm gonna listen to that after, like almost
But
immediately.
also I love the Replacements and like Can't Hardly Wait by the Replacements and Within Your Reach by the Replacements and Unsatisfied by the Replacements. Like everything that they do, I'm really I'm so enamored by that band
I
as
love
well.
that. What about your favorite movie? Is that too personal to ask?
It's Almost Famous by Cameron Crowe.
Okay, love that.
And then I also love The Apartment by Billy Wilder, and Tony Erdmann by Marionetta, and Punch Drunk Love by PTA.
Okay. Great list, by the way. Great taste. Is that valid? It's like no validation that matters. Like great taste. Uh, to now to talk a little bit about roommates. Like number one, like the fact that you're dropping them on the same date, right? To drop two like such important projects of your life, right? On the exact same day of each other. First off, was that on purpose at all, or did it just kind
No,
of work out that way?
I would never want it. I wouldn't have wanted it to be on the same day if I had a choice of the matter. No, it just kind of happened. I think, I probably strategically from my distributor for Mylan Kicks, Sumerian, who are a new company and really exciting and really investing in independent film. April's kind of like a diff, like you want to get in there before the big summer blockbusters, I guess.
Mhm.
Um, and then with roommates, I don't know. I think it just kind of happened that way. And then when I found out that was the case, I was like, what?
I mean, what do you think? Like, because they are dropping at the same time, I'm sure you worked on them at very different times in your life. But what do you think the fact that they are dropping together, where does it show with both of those films coming out, where you're at creatively? Like, because there's such different swings. Mile Kicks feels very different to me than Roommates.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely wasn't like anything strategic on my point. I mean, I think Mylan Kicks is just a very personal film that I've been trying to get made for over a decade now. And Roommates was just something that unexpectedly kind of happened while I was in post on Mylan Kicks. We were like in deep in the edit process, and I got and this opportunity happened that I was literally like I could not say no to it. And so I was, shooting Roommates while still, finishing my sound mix and my score, and like flying back from Toronto from New Jersey to like work on the film while I was in prep and shooting the movie. Um, but yeah, I think I'm just attracted to like stories about outsiders and like socially awkward people. And I think as very different tonally as Roommates is, like there's still like a lot of heart and authenticity to the screenplay and Jimmy and Kira's writing. And I really wanted to work with Sadie Sandler, who I think is just an extraordinary actress. And Chloe East, I think, who plays Celeste, is just so funny and so awesome. And we just ended up having this incredible ensemble of actors that I think really also speaks to Happy Madison and Adam and like everything that he kind of stands for as a comedian. So
Absolutely. And that was actually my next point because I noticed how stacked this cast is on this one.
it's insane.
And
Yeah.
yeah, it's ridiculous, especially as like a cinephile. Like I can't even imagine getting to, play with all these people. Like who were you the most geeked about bringing onto this project?
I mean, some of them I don't want to spoil, but
True.
the day that Carol Kane came on set, I was really, really excited because I mean, she's just an absolute legend. And I think she's like, and in person, she's like everything that you want her to be. She's so warm and funny and like just a great actor and like just a lovely, wonderful person with like the coolest stories. And I remember being on set and I like had to ask Adam a question about, I don't know, something like a sweater or something. And he's like, okay, 1 second. And they were on the phone talking to Jack Nicholson. And I was like, well, don't interrupt my conversation with Jack Nicholson. So I could ask you about like this sweater, like what the hell? Like, but it's just amazing. Like, yeah, so many legendary people. It was like extraordinary to get to collaborate with people like that.
Genuinely. And like I'm a comedy nerd, so like even beyond like the legends that are in it, it's like the people right now that are making me laugh. Like the Please Don't Destroys, the Nick
Yeah.
Krols.
Oh my
My
God.
YouTube algorithm is literally just Sarah Sherman making fun of
Yes.
Colin Jost. Like all the time. Like that's my whole thing. So like I just love that you have all these amazing people in there. Also, you mentioned that this is a Happy Madison production. Obviously, Sadie Sandler is starring in the film, so I imagine this is like one of those projects that they're probably more involved with than
Yes.
others, right? Like how did that happen and how involved was like Adam Sandler creatively?
I mean, he was hugely involved. He was on set every day.
Wow.
He was. really, really heavily involved in the script stage and, was working on the script with me and the writers. He's approving all of the sets and locations and costume design. And, we would have conversations about like if I wanted to add like two extra frames to a shot, like kind of debating if it was better with two frames more or two frames less. Like he is like very fundamentally involved. Like I think maybe people get the impression from his movies that they're very like laissez-faire or something, but
Yeah.
he is an auteur. He has incredible sense of shots and filmmaking and blocking and rhythm and timing and just incredible instincts about acting. And it was just like I felt like I got a really incredible like comedy masterclass from getting to spend all this time with him and his family. And his daughters are also really involved. His whole family is really involved in the films. Like, you know, Sadie was like watching cuts of the movies and like giving feedback on the edit and um, helping choose music for our soundtrack and, giving feedback on the script. And she was finishing her first year at NYU. So she was literally like living the movie, as we were writing it and stuff. So she had like very incredible feedback to give about like, what dialogue sounds realistic, what feels cringe, like, and it was really fun to like hear from someone who was like literally finishing up their first year of college, like, and just have her as a resource, not only as the star of the movie, but just as a collaborator.
I think it's like one of those things like we love coming of age movies and it's like I think the best coming of age movies seem to capture people when they're in that moment and it's like you're just capturing an energy, right? You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
what it feels like to me at least.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
And I mean between Mile Kicks and Roommates, you're showing two very different styles. Do you feel like
Mhm.
you're still kind of like discovering your own voice? And do you feel like you have like a clear sense of like what kind of filmmaker you want to be, or is it too early to tell for yourself?
That's a really interesting question. I mean, I feel like, in my own stuff, maybe I've developed a certain kind of aesthetic or taste or like sensibility that whatever is, I don't know, Levakian or whatever people are going to say about me. Um, but I think what's exciting about kind of collaborating in like the studio system is like bringing that to, I guess, different properties and seeing if I can still make a film sound and feel like myself. I mean, I guess that's like the challenge of everything. Um, I really admire filmmakers like Zach Kreger, who um, I think his movies are extraordinary. And like before that, I was never interested in making like a genre movie. But after watching Weapons and Barbarian, I was like, oh, wow, like a horror movie can be like funny and have this incredible script and be so um, awesomely shot and acted and written. Like it doesn't have to just kind of be like the content only. And so I think that kind of inspired me to think about doing things on like different kinds of canvases and not just only telling kind of like stories about my own life where a person is obsessed with popular culture and like learns a painful lesson. um but I think I think I make movies to kind of figure shit out and sort of look back at a time in my life and a person that I used to be and sort of like understand how I got there and maybe resolve some issues that I have. So um I kind of want to I have an idea for another movie that's like a little bit more personal like that. But I also think it's kind of cool to like make that the core of something and then tell something on like a much bigger canvas that's like more surreal and more like crazily concept driven.
And
I
I mean
guess I
this in
kind of
the
want to like get outside of myself, not only for my own sanity, but for Canadian taxpayers' sake.
absolutely, but like genuinely, like everything you're saying there, like that's exactly why I was a fan of these movies. Like it feels like it's you, right? And I think
Yeah.
that's really what's great about it. And like even in the end where she's talking about like being a woman with a voice in the arts, and I think she says something like hoping to be let into the conversation. And that's like such a
Yeah.
great encapsulation of trying to break into anything. Like, do you remember, like, do you feel like that now? Like, do you remember a moment of where you finally feel like, all right, cool, I belong in this space, or like, it's that thing go away?
Uh, I mean, I'm such a like socially awkward, anxious person that I don't know if I'll ever feel like cool or accepted in my life. Um, and certainly there were like a lot of moments of kind of like imposter syndrome on the studio movie. Like I remember the first day that I on set, like I came in for everyone's getting breakfast from the craft truck, and I saw that there was like a juice bar, and I like completely freaked out and was just like, I don't deserve a juice bar. I don't even know how to get juice. How do all these people have juice? Like, what's going on? It just kind of like was the first moment that like it kind of clicked in for me that I was like directing this like big budget Hollywood movie, and I didn't even really know how I got there. Um, so yeah, but but then it's like everyone is kind of like fumbling around making these opportunities happen for themselves. And like, I think the filmmakers that I really admire, they manage to stay true to like a core fundamental of like what their own voice and identity is. And, they don't, even if they're doing Dune and they're Denis Villeneuve, like, that still feels very much like a Denis Villeneuve movie and stuff.
Absolutely.
Um, so I think that's what's exciting to me is like, how do you, I don't know, take yourself and go other places? Like I loved Barbie, the Greta Gerwig movie. And I found that movie really subversive and awesome as a piece of like commercial art, but also like as a very earnest comedy, about feminism. And
100%.
so, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I have no idea what's going to happen to me in 5 years. But yeah, I think I want to just kind of try to keep growing and evolving and like also learning how to be a better filmmaker and collaborate with people and sort of figure out what kind of set is like the best set for making art.
If it gives you any peace, like, there are people like myself who are like excited to see where you go. So if that gives you like any sense of relief, you know what I mean? Like, because the stuff that you're doing right now is exactly why I'm a fan. Like, I want to know. I like the fact that you're pouring yourself into your work. Like, that's a beautiful thing.
Thanks.
Um, and the last thing I wanted to say was it's National Canadian Film Day, which is coming up on April 15th. And this is where, like, you share Canadian stories. And this year they're showing like 2,000 free screenings across all provinces and territories. As a Canadian filmmaker that's releasing films on a bigger stage, what's something you feel like people haven't woken up to when it comes to what makes Canadian filmmakers so unique?
God, I feel so honored to be a part of like the filmmaking community in Canada. And I think we've had another banner year of just like awesome movies that have really broken through on the world stage that people are really, really excited about, whether it's Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie, or Sophie Ramvari's Blue Heron, or my friend Eric Kamalaboyan's movie Follies, or Annie Mon's Peak Everything, or Grace Klowicki's Dead Lover, or like Zacharias Kunuk's the Wrong Husband. I think we're just I think Canadian cinema is the best when it gets to be super idiosyncratic and weird, and like a filmmaker's kind of creating their own universe. And we're very, very lucky and privileged to get to make movies in Canada, like with grants, and not have to like beg rich people to fund our movies all the time, and just kind of make art. And so I really see this like new generation of filmmakers like my age and younger that are like hustling so hard to tell their own stories, and they don't care about as much about like their things being commercial or uh American products that Americans can see and watch. Like they just want to make cool movies. And I think that I don't like when Canadian cinema is like sort of marketed like eat your greens, like watch Canadian movies, like you're a good person if you do this, like elbows up. Like I don't think that's like the way to like get people excited about cinema, like to kind of chastise them. I think it only works when it's just a really, really, really great film. And yeah, I look at filmmakers like Matthew Rankin or Guy Madden or uh, Jasmine Mazafari, and like I just really, really inspired by what they do. And yeah, I'm looking forward to like guess seeing what's next. Like I think we've only like scratched the surface of um like all of that Canadian cinema has to offer, and it's only getting greater and greater every year.
I always say like the wave is coming. People just don't realize
Yeah.
it. Like I can feel it. Like from this to Nirvana and like all these other movies that you mentioned, like I could feel it. Like it's happening and people don't even realize it. And it's
Yeah.
cool. Like these are cool movies.
Oh yeah. I mean, I remember I went to a screening of Nirvana, the band that showed the movie on Valentine's Day.
Oh, me
On
too.
Oh, cool. At the Burbank Cinema in LA. And I saw Matt after the screening, and there were two I went to two sold out Q&As like back to back, and everyone was wearing fedoras and they were so excited about the movie and like quoting lines back at him, and just the interest and enthusiasm. Like it just felt like going to like a rock concert. And it was so cool that like my friend had made this movie, and like that it felt like this kind of like really cult classic, instantly. And so I think the success of that movie, I think, really bodes well. Like I always think like a rising tide lifts all boats. So
And the fact that they were
anytime,
touring it too felt like
yeah.
so like unique to me. I don't know.
And doing tons of Q&As like unexpectedly in Toronto and stuff too. Like it's really cool.
Mhm.
And anytime I go to the movies too, like I feel like the majority of the audience, like even at like archival screenings of films, on 35 in like the basement of anthology film archives or at the review, like the audience is all really, really young and excited. And like I think it's like these young people in their that are in their teens and 20s, like those are the people that are going to save film and make the movies, and also be there to watch those films on film. And so I'm really like rejuvenated kind of by like this next generation of like cinephiles, because they are like truly the future and they're making awesome shit.
Exactly. That's exactly right. I don't think we can end it on a better note. I think that's perfect. That's exactly where we should end it. But like genuinely, congratulations on both the films. Like I think it's a great one-two punch because it shows what you can do in so many different ways. People go watch Mile and Kicks and then they see Roommates and it's like somebody will be happy with both of these movies. You know what I mean? Like it's really
It's
great
true.
to
There's
see.
something for everyone.
Yeah, 100%. And genuinely, thank you so much for your time. I really enjoyed this conversation and I can't wait
Yeah,
to see
me
what you do
too.
going forward.
Thank you. It's really, really kind, and hope to see you in Toronto. And thank you so much for your really thoughtful questions.